all-sufficient, omnipotent God, we here at the Universal Science Church of God want our little ones, your little ones, to experience the relationship that we have had with you all our lives. Help us to continue in our walk and talk to draw them to you. Father God, give us the discernment and strength and perseverance to obey you, not with just words, not with just knowledge, but with actions that please you and according to your word. We humbly ask for acceptance of this prayer in the name of the Father, in the name of the Son, and in the name of the Holy Ghost. Also, Holy Spirit, we pray. Amen, amen, and amen. And good morning. Thank you for tuning in to the Universal Science Church of God. The Universal Science Church of God is appealing to people from all walks of life. You don't have to be rich. You don't have to be poor. You just have to have a willing heart, an open mind to the Word of God. And we are a nation. Not that the government has anything to do with our business, but you know, these are the times that we're living in. You know, people, nobody wants to stay in their lane. And so, our values come from the Bible, starting from Genesis and ending at Revelation. The Quran, the Torah, and many other books spoke by God and written by man. We are advocates of social justice causes, such as we're calling for the reparations for the black descendants of slaves. We are calling for the rehabbing of the criminal justice system, because the current system that we have in place is systemically racist against black and brown people. We're calling for the dismantlement of child protection services, aka child predator service. These organizations should be run by Christian lawyers, but we have almost come to the mind of, you know, sometimes you have to tear down and rebuild, and child protection services just seem to always have it wrong. The people, the children that they should be helping, they don't help. You know, they seem to have an attitude, their mantra is, we gonna do the best interest of the children. Yeah, right. See, anybody can have a mantra. And so, we're almost to the point that it needs to be torn down and rebuilt, because, you know, our daughter was taken out of the home, Iyanla Nakia Newman, 6 years ago. And while they were over there messing with us, they found 2 children. The mother was Michelle Blair. 2 children. The sheriff went out there and served the eviction notice and had to, you know how you have to send in a crew to clean out things, because sometimes people leave stuff in the house. And as the crew was cleaning out, they was opening up the freezer. And I don't know if it was that day or the next day they had to unthaw it or whatever. But whatever day it was, whenever it became unthaw, they discovered 2 bodies, one on top of each other, a brother and a sister. And she had did this 3 to 4 years prior. And they crossed the street stalking us, professional stalkers. And so this is what we have come to the conclusion. We have talked to many people, many families about this, and everybody always talk about, well, you know, the children that's down the street, in the middle of the street, the car's about to hit them. I call CPS on them, and CPS don't even come out. But If there's a mother, open up an investigation. They want to investigate, why are you still married? Why are you married? You don't have the right to be married. And this Negro walked in my house talking about, I think, a mental illness. Well, if you had went in Michelle Blair's house, you would have known it was a mental illness there. You went in there, closed the case out over and over again. And then they took the sheriff department to go there. When it was time to evict her, they went in there and found her. See, the body's been there 3 or 4 years. You walking past the body talking about, well, everything is fine in here. Have a husband in there. Everything was fine. They didn't have a father in there. Everything was fine because they had different fathers, see. See, you walk in our house, Louis and Felicia. We weren't rich. But see, you saw a man and a woman. And you saw 3 children. And all of them looked identical. You saw 3 children. And all of them looked identical. All of them look like they by the same man. And we got a problem with that. We got a problem with that. We smell mental illnesses. We smell God. We don't smell the abominations that we normally smell when we walk into places.
Well, now, it made me feel bad because I did have a mental illness from the military. But it was a lot on my mind. But now it seems to be clearing out. Because, like, see, black, we don't have leaders, but we still black people. You know, regardless of how you get another black-faced person and somewhere in a position of authority. I didn't really know nothing about the color of law until I met Nelson. This is unbelievable. You know, it's truly unbelievable that God has been carrying this country so far and so long on nothing. You know, and people now, you know, they enjoy cutting. You know, I don't care what kind of problem you got. You ain't got no. Well, the psychological problem that they are running on different children now is really, you know, that's crazy as hell. Just because a child ain't got no sense, a child got a sense of, you know, believing it. You're looking at an adult like they can appear to be somebody to them. That's under the color of law. And our government, you know, this stuff that's going on. It's hard to you know, be on air talking about it. And then it could be a matter of national security. If someone saw such a weakness in people, hey, you ain't gonna never be shit no way. No way, under no sun. You know, you'll never be, you know, you got our boys just dying for what?
Well, I heard you say a few minutes ago, you were saying that you felt bad because you did attain a mental illness in the military, but righteously so. Anybody go with an M16 gun and got to go and kill people, then people that your so-called buddies, your colleagues, they dying next to you, they dying in your arms. If that don't affect anybody, you see, people love to talk, but who have you sacrificed your life for? Nobody. And the Negro that said he looking for a mental illness, he was a mental illness in real time. This man was a straight up homosexual.
Act like a homosexual. That's coming into that.
And I knew he was trying to be smart when he said he smelled a mental illness. I said, he said it 3 times. I'm not the kind of person. I like to let people save face, and even when a person trying to be smart with me, especially when I deal with black people, I like for them to just get some sense on their own. He just kept walking behind me. I smell a mental illness. You sure ain't no mental illnesses up in here? And so I finally cornered him off in the kitchen, and I said, see, the thing about a mental illness is this. I said, just like when you two old fuzzy faced men kissing. I said, do you think that's a mental illness? Now all of a sudden, he act just like a bowling ball, and the cat, what they say, the cat got your tongue. See, now he don't want to talk. And I'm saying to myself, come on, let's talk. Let's talk about mental illnesses. I want to have that conversation because I noticed that by homosexuals, they always calling somebody crazy. See, you crazy if you believe in God. You crazy if you don't listen to that bull that they talking about, because they ain't talking about nothing. But see, your mental illness righteously so. Most people that go to the military come out, they attain some type of mental illness, or they lose their attain a mental illness. You know, things tragic can happen to you and can cause you to have a breakdown. You know, so that's why I'm very sensitive about like when ministers use the word retard. I don't like that word, because some people need to get, people that's talking right now, you need to go seek some help. If you sitting up talking about a man can get pregnant, something is wrong with you. Something is really wrong with you. If you talking about a man can be a woman, a man can get pregnant, a man can have an abortion, I tell you what, I bet you he ain't got no cootie. You can talk all you want to. You can talk, and trust me, I don't believe you're gonna be able to produce that. I know you not. And so I wanted to read this Bible verse. See, you sitting around talking, but see, God got all this stuff covered. You may feel like my brothers and sisters in Christ, saints, you may feel like, you know, wow, this world is out of control. I hear that from people all the time. But you let me tell you something. God is in control. Don't you think every move that a person make, everything that you see, it comes from a precision and a precise God. You know, he not a let me go make a decision God, or let me go strategize God. God already have told us. And let me read Amos 2, the 2nd chapter, the 14th through the 16th verse. He said, on that great and dreadful day, your fastest runners will not get away. The strongest among you will become weak. Even mighty warriors will be unable to save themselves. The archers will not stand their ground. The swiftest runners won't be fast enough to escape. Even those horses won't be able to save themselves. He said, on that great and dreadful day, he said, the most courageous, bring the most courageous of your fighting men. They're going to drop their weapon and run for their very life. They're going to run in fear, because God is here. See, God is here now. You just don't know it. But when he decided to call out his mighty voice, they said, God got a voice. I studied in some commentaries that God got a voice that it's something you never heard. You never heard this voice. But they say it just thunder. It's just a voice that's you gonna know it's God. You gonna know it's God. You know God is here now. You know God has performed miracles in your life before. And he's performing one now. But see, all these people walking around talking, see, they just talking because God is not, they feel like God is not here. God is, let me tell you something. God is laughing. And when I say he laughing, I don't mean that God is laughing like you laughing, like you go around and make fun of people and calling people crazy and stuff like that. I mean that God is laughing because God is saying in heaven, he said, now their day is coming. I'm going to see about all this talking that these so-called people are talking about. And that's just like even our president right now, Joseph R. Biden. You know, I'm not going to lie to you. I suspected Biden would be doing what he's doing. I'm just not. But when a person do something, you know, it's like, wow, okay, that's a confirmation. But you know, no matter what you think a person gonna do, don't they always do worse than what you gonna think? Now Biden stood up March the 31st and said that he gonna commemorate Trans Day annually. Trans Day of Visibility. So every year on March 31st, we supposed to be recognizing the trans. Well, he said the trans community. And now they are on TV this morning. I don't know whether these people lying or telling the truth about Biden got COVID. But if Biden got COVID, you better be careful. You sitting around here talking about some senior trans day. What are you talking about, man? What are you talking about? What are you talking about? If you got COVID again, then, I don't really know what to say. I don't even know if you got it. I don't even know if you had it at first. This is just what I think about the government.
Those are very critical points that we are taking our country. I'm just glad and thank God. I'm so glad that the power is in the people. And for Washington, D.C., we got to come up. We have to really do something pertaining to justice in this country and pertaining to the word of Jesus Christ. Because, hey, let's don't get it twisted. I thought that Trump was going to be a person that this problem that we just coming in contact with. I thought that, yeah, I know anybody can be a fool. But, hey, you going to live like a fool? This is what you taking home with you? You going to be a fool? I thought, I might have been crazy for thinking that, but I did think that Caucasian people were at least heterosexuals. I didn't look for them to be no choir boys, nothing like that. But, and how can I not say that's what I'm looking for? What do you think I'm looking for? What you think God's people will be looking for some form of justice in? Then after that, instead of us, we could have started this war between the government and us 4 years ago.
And doing this speech that Biden had about the trans community, I noticed that he invoked the God name. And you got to be careful. God God is bigger than you think. God is not this Bing Bang theory that Caucasian people have tried to teach us through atheism. God, they woke up one day and everything was there. They wasn't even here. And I want you to repeat, Caucasian people was not here when God created this world trillions of years ago. As a matter of fact, Caucasian people are the youngest race. They weren't even here. So how can they declare a Bing Bang theory? But Biden was trying to invoke the word of God by saying that God made the transgender. He said for who he made an image of himself through you, and you deserve dignity, respect, and support. And I want to say this to President. Let me read. And I think he was trying to read from Genesis, the 1st chapter, and the 21st verse. And let me read that. Genesis, the 1st chapter, and the 21st verse says, so God created human beings in his own image. In the image of God, he created them. Male and female, he created them. Now, I'm assuming that this is what you're talking about, President Biden. So, see, a person, people be out there thinking that they trying to be smart with God. Look at how God is right here in this sentence, making his own words and soul rise up against him. God created, he said he created, first of all, male and female. God created us in his own image. God ain't never said he was a trans God. God, people talk about God created all of us in his own image, and God loved what he created. Yeah, God loved what he created. If he created you to be a man, then you a man. If he created you to be a woman, you a woman. If he created you to be a boy, you will be a boy. And so, Biden is talking about some International Transgender Day of Visibility. And he taking this, see, and that's what Jesus Christ said, and that's what the Word of God said in the book of Revelation. I think Revelation, the 22nd chapter, somewhere around the 14th or 15th verse, he said, don't add nothing to the Word. Don't take anything away. See how these people sit up here and twist, yeah, he twisting all this around. And that's not even President Biden. That's not even what that says. And he say he know it's hard when people who don't seek you don't respect you. That sounds like the life of a black man to the bone. As a matter of fact, we have not been paid reparations, and to add insult to injury, the slave owners have been paid reparations as far back as 1862. And if that's a person not respecting you, if that's a person not looking over you, if that's a person saying that you invisible, you know,
you got black people walk around saying they should have been paid. That's supposed to be something for to come out of a black face. Even with the Obama situation, black people don't even have the authority. I don't understand the electoral college exactly how it worked. But Obama, I ain't have no way of stopping him before he even got there. Not even because he came out trying. Same thing with Trump came out with, like he finna do something right. Next thing you know, these sisters all over the place. What's that supposed to be about? That's not this country still.
Well, I think the part that's very upsetting, which we already saw it. The part that's very upsetting is they are putting this stuff on our children. See how Biden is coming in the name of his whole point is he wants parents should affirm their child's trans identity. See, this is what I mean by the government is legislating immorality. Okay? You sitting here thinking that, well, I'm not involved in politics. Well, you think you're not involved with politics. You just a person that's just letting them slap you in the face. That's how you not involved. But you involved whether you want to be involved or not. And so it's almost like when people say, like when a person said, well, I don't want to vote, because I felt like that. But then I realized if I don't vote, I'm still voting, because the people that I'm voting, I want to vote against, they going out there voting. I'm sitting up not voting. So I'm giving them I'm giving them the lead way to accomplish what I don't want to accomplish, which is this mess that they got going on. And President Biden is he's reversing all this by saying that he's trying to pretend like somebody trying to attack transgender, when first of all, transgender is not even a gender. He read it for himself from the Bible. He said there is male and there is female. He read this from his own. He affirming. He talking about what you need to affirm. You affirming the word of God, man, right there. You said God made us in his own image, male and female. All this is in the same verse. I'm pretty sure that's the verse that you was referring to. And so everything that you are saying that other people are doing to them, they are doing to other people. You trying to say that people disrespecting them. These grown men walking around, you notice a male. I hate to say man, because that's insulting to a male walking around. And he's saying that he a woman. He disrespecting me. That's what I'm saying. You keep talking about somebody doing something to them. Everything you say, you in process in real time doing it right then and right there. You gonna affirm like you talking about affirming this gender care, and you coming up under all these old fancy names, talking about a parent. You got a resource from the Office of Assistant Secretary for Health. You talking about that man, Rachel Levine? He bringing his stuff in. He bringing his. People used to tell me, don't bring your personal life to your job. Leave that at home. Now this is a man saying he a woman, and all his programs with the Human Health Service got something to do with. Now he's saying that a child can affirm their gender. He trying to get that passed at as young as 10 years old. As young as 10 years old. And you don't even have a child. You don't know how you know all this stuff about a child. Yeah, you got a high degree, you got a doctorate degree, but see, let me tell you something. I've been to many different levels of everything. And one thing I can tell you, out of all my schooling, they did not tell me that one day I'm going to have to deal with a man talking about he a woman. See, some things they don't teach you in school. Some things you don't know. And you sitting over there because you got a doctorate degree, you think you can stand up in front of the world and tell them what a child, how you know a child can affirm their identity at 10 years old? Who told you that? You don't have a child. And so President Biden was talking about he coming under this fancy name. He want parents to support their children and adolescents with information on gender affirming care. See, they always got some old crazy foolery and all these fancy words, and you think it's some type of health care. See, let me tell you what gender affirming care is so you can know from the top to the bottom and from the bottom to the top. It's the removal of your daughter's breast so she can pretend like she's a man. It's the removal of your son's gentle toes, his penis, so he can pretend like he's a woman. Okay? Makeup, 5 gallons of makeup. That's all. He got all this fancy stuff, but I want to just break it all the way down to you. They are trying to pretend like doing this is something clever. They say this is a supportive form of health care. So you saying Chloe Cole started taking puberty block medicine at 13 years old, and you listen to me real good. See all these resources you got. Why don't you have a resource showing the pros and the cons? Why you ain't got Chloe Cole as a resource? They're like, in other words, that's why you took the Bible out of the school, so you could come in and teach homosexuality and a person don't have something that they choose from. See, this is what you call power. You want to lead people down just a one lane. It's all about oneness. You know, no type of competition. But you know, this is a shame before God that you all are sitting here allowing these things to happen to your children. You know, I haven't been able to do anything about what they have done to my daughter, but I tell you what, I get up every day fighting every single day. And then we got to fight with people that don't even fight. I've seen Caucasian people just slap black people. I mean, and they sit there and they being just got up in my face. Trying to tell me about my business now. And then people trying to tell me now that ain't you know, whole life gone. Folks done took your youth, they done took your mama, they done took your daddy, they done took your brother, they done took your sister, they done took everything that would make you a person. And you sit down talking just like somebody, you actually think I'm fixing to listen to a loser. That's what you call a real loser. Anybody and everybody can walk up and do anything they feel like they want to do to you. I tell you what, they might be being dirty to me because that's all they're doing. But it's not like I'm going away quiet. It's not like it's not a fight. Because this fight been going on and on and on. We've been fighting them every step of the way. And we are fighters. So if you want to sit over there, you know, in other words, like the situation with our daughter right now, this is like a rerun all the way back to my mother. My mother is dead right now. I don't even know how she died. But let me tell you one thing I do know. My mother was disabled. She had the mind of a 12-year-old. They took advantage of my mother, took my mother and put her in front of the city of Selma. And the same way my daughter rising up against me, they used my mother to do the same identical thing. And I contacted all her brothers. I contacted my brothers, my sisters. You know, everybody seemed to be on this this thing about people want to be on a winning side. Everybody seemed to think that, oh, okay, now it's time to go against God. See, And that's the same thing they are doing with our daughter right now. They got her thinking that that she's on a winning team. I know that team she owns is a losing team. We put her picture up on our Facebook page, and it's a shame that I got to come in front of the United States of America, and we got to actually fight with our children. But we have to do whatever we have to do, because we tried to go through the court system. The court system walked all over us, and they got her thinking that. But anyway, let me make my point that I want to make. The point that I'm trying to make is, it's just like, it's a shame that we got to fight with our children on air, in public, and we not really fighting with them. We really fighting with the people that's hiding behind them. You ain't got no business telling her to go against her mother and her father, because you are the part of the whole problem. While you trying to make her think that we're the problem, you are really the problem. You are the sole problem of everything that goes on in this country. But anyway, they got her talking about it don't even make sense. I'm supposed to be hiding behind ministers, and see, that's the whole thing. Listen closely to what they're saying. I'm hiding behind them. See, they always attacking marriages and families, the nuclear family especially, and they ain't got enough nerve to write about it and try to tell you how everything came about. Everything came about because of this homosexuality. You ain't just started being a homosexual today. This been going on a long time. See, that's what Donald Trump brought to surface, was the down low element. And I'm not saying that these open homosexuals are not the problem, but what I'm saying to you is, and if you don't believe me, you pay attention to it. This down low, that's a very, very significant part of the problem. Because see, you think you talking to men when you talking to men that's sleeping with men. Now, Minister just said a few minutes ago about Barack Obama. Now, I didn't think that Barack Obama was going to do anything in the name of helping black people. And this is the reason why I didn't believe he was going to do anything. I had just got through with the administration of the first black mayor, James Perkins Jr., and it was a shame before God what that punk did. If I ever seen one, that's one. If I go and look in the dictionary on the punk, his name should be the first one there. Okay, he upseated Joe Smithman after 40 years, right? Oh, I'm running against a white woman named Jean Martin. She been sitting over there 30 years, ain't did nothing in the black community. All of a sudden now, she fixing to do something. And James Perkins Jr., all the black people on the city council, Reverend Reese Church, all these people came out, and you would have thought I was running for the president of the United States. I wouldn't think that a little council seat would have them in an uproar. And then that's not the part that get me. The part that got me, I found out this was about homosexuality. They don't want no role models, man, woman, all the children in the marriage. They want, to keep promoting unwed mothers or women with 4 or 5 children. And none of them belong to the man. See, this is how homosexuality came about, through heterosexual people. Now you can sit up here all you want to and talk all you want to, but all this stuff came through them, and they were sitting around with their beady eyes watching us fornicate, watching us, and so they can have an excuse to come out with their air show. You see they got going on now. See, yeah, well, you ain't. I remember when Fantasia, Fantasia is a good singer. I remember when they asked her about homosexuality. She said, "Oh, I can't go along with that. That's in the Bible." I remember all the homosexuals came out and said, "You hoe bitch. You hauling me. You going with a married man." See what I'm saying? See, that's what homosexuals been sitting around watching heterosexuals commit every atrocity under the sun, so they can say, well, you know, he who without sin cast the first stone, meaning that can't nobody say nothing to nobody about nothing. And that's just a lie. And so a child should not be subjected to this homosexuality thing. You know, a child's supposed to go to school for reading, writing, arithmetic, social studies, civil studies, whatever. Now, instead of them teaching political science and bringing civil service back into the school, they want to bring homosexual books. They want to bring books into school teaching children that they can touch. You touch your part down there, it's going to rise. And don't worry about it. You're going to feel good. Pornography. This is what they want to teach our children. And this is what President Biden is saying about we supposed to be talking about some gender affirming care. It ain't no gender affirming care. You talking about homosexuality from a homosexual. Okay? Rachel Levine, Assistant Secretary of the Health and Human Services, is a man. And to tell you the truth, I don't really care what the hell she is. Why in the hell, what the hell he or she said. I can't even say he, I just said she then. That stuff is so confusing. She is standing, then these preachers are sitting around. You ain't got nothing to say about nothing. Because you a chump and a punk. You ain't got nothing. The things I'm saying, you supposed to be saying. You say you a what? A mega minister? Well, we got mega problems. Mega minister, where are you at? You just sitting around looking around, you know, just like you looking for a minister. Well, take your robe off and go home so some ministers can come in and do something. You can't have no title, and that's what I begin to understand about this country. You can have any kind of title, can go to school and attain any kind of degree, and don't even live up to it. As a matter of fact, that's the whole point that you need to understand is you can't live up to it, especially if it's in adverse to their agenda. And you got homosexuals walking around talking about they gay. I'm gay. Gay, the last time I checked, what did gay mean? Gay means you feel good, you carefree. Well, if homosexuality is so gay as you claim, why are you so upset? Well, you know, why you got my daughter been gone 6 years. You say you telling her everything is our fault, okay? So 6 years later, she cussing us like a sailor. She upset about anything and everything. I thought this homosexual thing supposed to be helping children. See, they just liars. These old Caucasian homosexuals. You can sit around all you want to and talk about anything you want to talk about, but a man can't be a woman. A man cannot be a woman. And you know another thing about the homosexual community, they love to be out calling people names. Phobic, you homophobic, you transphobic, you a bigot. You if you don't think that if you think a man should be with a biological man and a biological woman go together, if you believe in that, then you a bigot. And when you say, well, you a faggot, then here comes Zuckerberg on Facebook telling me about I'm hurting the community. That's hate speech, you know. But it's okay for my daughter to say I'm a bitch. See, you ain't saying nothing about that. But the minute I try to move past her and talk to these white Caucasian homosexuals, because you know I'm talking to you, and every time I talk about something, everybody that know me know I've been talking the same way ever since you've been knowing me. Now that's one thing you do know. They over there twisting her mind around, trying to make her think I'm talking to her. I'm talking to her, but I'm talking to the people that's hiding behind her. See, you made the statement, they had her making a statement this week about I'm hiding behind minister when me and minister are one. See, that's what they want to attack. You think they think I'm finna prove to them that I'm not hiding behind him and he not hiding behind me. You know, I remember one time in Selma, you had my mother walking the street talking about I'm brainwashed. You know, so which one is it? I'm hiding behind him or he hiding behind me? See, that's why I don't think about this foolery. I'm just trying to talk to the adults, wherever you are.
Yeah, we started trying to, find it hard to believe that Caucasian people don't have no type of civilized thoughts about their own children. Basically, when it just really boils right down to it, because the majority rules. I hear you say all the time, this is the greatest place in the world. Yeah. You got, I guess that a lot of people trying to, they whatever, you know what I'm saying? But at the same time, what I thought that you go to, somebody steals something from you, you go to their lair, so to speak, and that's what all your stuff is at. It's not that. It's not that. You be one of the, you one of them and say, wow, Caucasian people is really stupid for real. They actually are stupid people. They just so corrupt, I guess you could say. But I know the last term with this Trump campaign, I thought at least you'd be able to get a heterosexual family in the White House. I didn't think it was going to be some type of diversity type, because we've been under that all the way through Dr. King, so to speak. I got to refer to someone as a doctor when Jesus Christ in one room and they in the other. And that's what separates light from dark. It's pitiful. And black people, we have subject ourselves to that for the last 50. Really, I guess the reason why I'm in a situation, because that's really most of my life. Most of my life, dedicated to a struggle that our black faces just, they don't do nothing, and they have destroyed our community with this homosexual stuff. They done got every name out of the book for homosexuality. Every name out of the book. Now they standing in the pulpit of Jesus Christ telling lies about God, and Caucasian people doing the same thing. Doing the same thing. But then I was taught that about a black minister, I say about 9 or 10 years ago. I was sitting there listening to him on TV. This is known too, but then why how in the hell now? I guess we are to a point where why cut on Latino children? I know you probably cutting on everybody else too, but that's for the let that just be known. That's terrible.
Well, that's their new, I guess they saying that Latinos is the new niggas now. See, when we was in slavery, they did something of fate worse than that. Black men would be out working for white men, and they would be having sex with their wives. They would be fathering children. See, you can't be decent. See, a person just can't work for you, and it's always got to be some type of exploitation, mutilation, immorality. It always got to be some type of nasty skank type of stuff involved with a person. Just can't work. It's always, well, you gonna work and I'm gonna have your woman. You gonna work and I'm gonna cut up your children. Well, you gonna work and I'm gonna have to do something to make myself feel like I'm above you. See, people that go around and do stuff like that, it's because they feel threatened. They feel threatened about anything and everything. Because see, the Latino people, they are kind of making it clear that they are about faith and family. They are about God, And that's what they don't like. And they are coming along with the naive talking about, well, we going to see about this God. Almost like Pharaoh. When the children of Israel was calling out to God, and God showed up, and Pharaoh said, well, take the paste that they used to make the brick with, take that away, and I expect the same quota. And see, that's the way they do black people right here, right now. They take everything. In other words, you can't have no reparations, which is already due to you. You can't have your justice. You can't have your inborn rights. And they expect for you to perform at the same level. Doing the same thing, different name, different game. And see, one thing that Caucasian people, you're going to have to understand, and black people that's helping Caucasian people, you cannot change the original natural order of God. And see, that's one thing that you getting ready to see in a little while. In a little while, you would not be no more. You know, you can't. In other words, you go out there right now. If you hit somebody, you might hit some people and they don't hit you back. But see, just naturally speaking, if you hit somebody, they're gonna hit you back. That's just like James Perkins Jr. He walked the street and talked about my biological father, like I got something to do with my daddy helping Joe Smithman get in for 40 years. And my dad explained to me why he did that. Now he walking the street talking about my biological daddy as though I ain't got no type of, this supposed to be politics, I ain't got no type of feeling toward the situation. And then when I get out there and campaign against him, he out there, I don't know why they're out talking about me. That people were saying, didn't you talk about Willie Owens? Did you talk about her daddy? See, that's what I'm saying. See, everybody else got a memory, but you don't seem to have a memory. And then, if I had been thinking, I should have been talking about your daddy and what he was doing in the school system.
High school.
But when I was going to school, it was Payne School. When I was going to school,
Yeah.
and my father had to tell me one day. He said, "Look, let me tell you something. You've been in the game all your life, whether you want to know or not." He said, "The reason why Perkins is attacking you," he said, Daddy started attacking you as a child. He said, "You remember when you had to go to Edgewood School for 1 year?" He said, "That's Mr. Perkins." And he just said Mr. Perkins. I ain't going to tell you the foul language he used in between the Mr. and the Perkins. But he said, the reason why you had to go to Edgewood School, he's the one that was saying you were living on the wrong side of the street. My address was 2019. And if you got odd numbers, you got to go to Edgewood. You got even number, then you go to Payne. And so this is the technicality that his father pulled against me, and I'm in the first grade. And so my dad had to. I said, I remember when he said, Mr. Perkins. He said they destined to come after you. And so understand the destiny gonna go both ways. See, that's what people think, and that's the problem. The reason why they kept those false charges on us in Selma. Well, they was actually telling people was asking themselves, now why are you doing that? You know that this is wrong. You can't why you try? Well, we know that we don't know what they're gonna do if we take the charges off. See, that's what's wrong with this country. You putting all these homosexuals in place. They out there attacking people, pretending like somebody attacking them first. They out there attacking people, and they think that they can stop the law of God. Talking about I don't know what they're gonna do. Well, you need to be worried about what God gonna do about it. Because I'm going to tell you, if you hit me, I'm going to hit you back. And I'm going to keep hitting you. And I'm going to keep hitting you. And I'm going to keep hitting you. That's why you ain't got, that's why I'm what a person, I try to play defense. I don't play offense. But I'm learning through the word of God. I'm supposed to play offense pertaining to the word of God. You know, when God said, put on your spiritual armor, all those pieces that he named are defense weapons. But the only offense weapon is the word of God. You stay on offense against the devil as long as you live. And so I began to start learning that a couple of years ago. And so I'm saying that to say that, see, homosexuals are what you call not within a natural order. And so that's why they think they can do things. That's why they ain't got no business in no position. You ain't got no business in no position out there trying to hit at men. Because if you hit a man gonna hit you back. If you hit a woman gonna hit you back. And I can declare one thing to the world. I may not be able to prove this right here, right now, but whenever God get ready to prove this, it's gonna be proved. They've been attacking my family, the Newman family, for as long as I can remember. They've been attacking Iyanla ever since she was a child. We've been fighting for her every step of the way. You know, in other words, they trying to embarrass her. They trying to embarrass us with her. But see, I remember what Joseph said to his brothers that day when they became afraid when Joseph got into position. Because see, what you don't understand, we already in position. But see, when we get into position, see that's what they're afraid of. They're afraid of us getting to the point that God has already God has already anointed Lewis and Felicia. We just yet to be appointed. And see, that's what Joseph was telling his brothers when they realized who he was and the position he was in. They was trying to say, well, you know, Daddy said, he said, no, you don't have to tell me all that. He said, because see, what you meant for bad, God made it for my good. See, I understand, we understand that clearly. And these people been attacking my family, the Newman family, for like, why I got our daughter out there, got her talking about she's a homosexual and stuff. So you think that's funny, but you watch how that's going to play back. That's going to play back in a way that you ain't never seen life play back. Because I'm staying on my principles with God. God ain't never, ever let me down. God was with me. When I look back over my life now, I look at how I used to be up and down. I always had a car. I remember, I just look at my life, how I would be all up and down, marrying, floating the car. And I said, ooh, Lord, God was with me. Woo, how in the world? That's what I'm saying. I don't have no reason. I don't have no reason to turn against God, because God have shown me I was with you when you didn't have no sense. I was with you when you had a little sense. I've been with you ever since. I was with you when your mama wanted to abort you. I had already had plans for your life. You weren't going to be aborted. I did it that way. For a particular purpose and in a certain way. So you could even talk about it right here, right now. See, so, and sometimes, even with the knowledge that I have, I still feel what you call embarrassed. I think to me, it's so embarrassing that I got to sit here and tell you that a man can't be a woman. Now, I thought sure I would be fighting with Caucasian people, but not like this. I thought it would be like more in a high scale competitive environment pertaining to what you call positions and stuff like that. But it's still going along that way. But I thought it would be more or less like job, house. You know, I ain't never thought it would be like, you gonna sit your nutty self up here and try to tell me about you a white man now, talking about he a woman. Okay, you a woman, so why you got to keep on making all these announcements about you a woman? I thought you all said that there's no such thing as a woman no more. I'm a birthing mother, a birthing person, he a non-birthing person, but a white man walking around, he's a trans woman.
No, they got some of these Caucasian people on TV talking about their son and their daughter. You know, I mean, how can they? You know, what? I don't understand that. How can you call? You got to be a millionaire to have a son, to even have it, even be represent your family as a family in public. You say that don't even make sense. That's not America. That is not America. And so, and then like, how could you stoop that low? That's my problem. You know, anybody, you know, if you can give the medicine, take the medicine. That's all I can say. And
that's what I was talking about then. See, you actually think that just because you can call Zuckerberg and he come dock me about I shouldn't call Dr. Malak a faggot. I don't know what else to call somebody that would come and take a child out of a home through damn lies. I don't know what else to call you but a faggot. I don't care if you a man with 10 children. It makes me no different. If you would do something like that, I'm going to call you that. As long as you don't, in other words, you using the government to fight me. You using every law up under the sun to fight me. Well, I'm using every weapon that's at my disposal from God. You don't tell me how to fight you. Now, you can get over there with Zuckerberg, but see, I serve a God that sit high, and he look low. And God, the more you do what you do against us, the more you speed this up, the more God gonna, like Minister just said, you can't control reaping what you sow. You out there planting all this evil and switching around talking about you gay. No, you planting evil, you evil. If you a homosexual, you evil. And that's just simple as that. There's no sense in beating around the bush about these people.
You stepping up in my house, talking about a mental illness, and left the other, this poor black girl and her brother in a deep freeze across town. I mean, how? And then after you know it, and then you put that out there to say to me, oh, you see what I did for these old niggas, do you? You see what I got old Larry doing around here? I put him in a boat for 3 seconds. Look at it. You know. Oh, you know, and then like, hey, we don't have leaders. I guess we can lead on that. We don't have leaders. You know, we just do what we do. But still, it's disgusting. You know what you think you're doing. I'll put it that way. It's just, and then the pressure. That's what I'm saying. I'm gonna fight no. I'm over trying to get something going with this last administration, and now he don't want. he was laying around in his basement. Now he over here talking about he done invented an enemy against me, some type of trans singer. No, a trans singer. And I've been living all my life. I ain't never know nothing but a senior citizen, whatever. Now I got the trans seniors. They got before my equal rights. I only have equal rights pertaining to my own daughter, which I was drafted to fight against communism for. And all this was drilled into my mind, drilled into my soul by the American government. What am I supposed to do with that? You know, where is that supposed to go? They don't draft people no more, true enough. But see, what, you know, but then when you don't draft nobody, that mean a person ain't got nothing to do, so they going over here with you. And that's wrong. That's a wrong two combination. And no principle involved. They just going. You know. But then that's terrible now. You know, half of them sitting around and, you know, the guy that's disabled. Then, but America should accept some type of responsibility since the Vietnam era. Ain't got no business in no war since then, according to the Industrial Revolution. If you were truly an intelligent man, if you was any kind of way intelligent, you know, we just oh well, okay, boss. So we got to do this, okay then. You know, and then you know, time out. Now you cutting on children. I don't want no child nowhere in Mexico. I don't care what them people have to do to get over here. I ain't cutting on your child. I ain't with no motherfucker. Excuse me. I ain't with nobody that does. Period. I don't want to be. I might be in the same country that you hear about that. But our souls are completely separate. Our gods are different. Absolutely different. So when you come into America, don't get caught. Hey, don't get caught on the wrong corner. That's all I can say about that. I could not find. I don't see no justification in this world for a grown person that's graduated from medical school to go cutting on a child for the reason why this just surfaced in. I was about through with Laura Ingalls. That's the first thing she did ever since I knew her, since I've been, you know, airing her show. But anyway, you know, so I guess you just carry on. That's all I can say. That's all I can say. Because until this is answered.
Well, Laura Ingraham got children. She got 3 children. See, these old people walking around, they don't even have children. Like this man, Richard Levine, trying to tell a child know their gender at 10. That's when he knew his gender. You know, and that's what gets me. You know, these stupid looking Caucasian men talking about they women. Well, be one then. You know, you told God to hell with your birth, to hell with your gender. If you talk like that to God, why you need permission from us? We ain't nothing in comparison to God. Oh, you think you gonna make somebody believe that? Oh yeah, I'd like to see that. You can probably make children believe that. You can probably make 18-year-olds and 19-year-olds believe that. But guess what? Y'all gonna have to, you know what? Your generation, y'all gonna have to grow up real fast. Because you got some stupid people that call themselves, just because a person is an adult, that don't mean that they're an adult. See, some people, just like this Richard Levine over in the Health and the Human Service Assistant Secretary. You know, he living out of childhood. He never got past when he grew up, most boys have a hammer, nails, but I guess he resented his hammer and nails and had some other feeling going on. Maybe that's what he's talking about. You know, when your girls, they generally want a princess dress on, want them little plastic high heel shoes on. They want to be a princess. You know, and I remember one week, my daughter Joan, I kept trying to figure out why she had this belt on and the tail was hanging out the back. And I kept looking. I said, Joan, what are you, what is that? What's up? What you doing? She said, oh, I'm a cat. And she was a cat for a week and she was through with that. And see, that's what I'm saying. Now, you trying to, just a normal, natural feeling. Children play mama and daddy. I mean, really. You trying to normalize and neutralize that feeling. You trying to stop puberty. You got puberty block. Now you finna neutralize that. You finna slow that down. You God now. You bad. You bad now. And see, that's what we dealing with. And they saying that they can do all this stuff, but you can't talk about it. They can take my daughter out of the home, but I can't call a punk a punk. I can't talk about the people that's doing this to me. Since what you did to me was legal and it was fine and it was okay, what's the problem? You know, keep telling people that we crazy. Just keep doing that. Just keep traveling down that road. No, they want to sit. They want to be dirty. They want to be dirty, and when you complain about it, they want to be even more dirtier. And start trying to contact people, outlets and stuff, and say that you are saying this and saying that. Look, you can't stop the will of God. You can't stop the word of God, because the more you do against me, the more God is going to empower me. The more He's going to empower minister. You know, and that's one thing you got to understand. Most people fall for the psychology of people in position. When they come after them, they feel like, wow, I'm too powerless. But see, what you got to understand is you got more power than they got. See, the reason why they coming after you is not because they feel powerful. It's because they cowards. They got to get in a position and use your money and taxpayer money to fight you. Because guess what? They couldn't fight you in no street. They couldn't come out in the real world and do that. So you are the one that's powerful. Minister went to the military. And many people went to the military. You got a right to talk. You got a right to state your feelings. Now, anytime I say something about a homosexual, here come Facebook police. Here come Twitter police. But here these young white boys all online planning killings. They talking about, well, you know, I'm waiting on my old granddad to he got that gun on his side. I'm waiting on him to get his old behind out so I can kill my grandmama. They ain't got no algorithm or nothing to pick up that. But when you talk about God, oh, that's a sin. See, that's what Jesus Christ was talking about when he said that you're going to know the ends of times, because people going to be making wrong right, right, wrong. But you didn't know that it would be like this. But the Bible is alive and well. It's alive. Why you think that they took the Bibles out of the school and pray out of the school? You know why? They can't compete. Why you think they trying to take us down? Because they can't compete. They can't compete with the truth. The truth gonna stand no matter what. The truth is gonna stand no matter what. Why you think God is God? Why you think God will tell you in the word. He said, I have fought with many nations. I have knocked down many nations and kingdoms. I have torn them down and rebuilt them. That's why he God, because he's standing. He's standing. He's standing. He's standing. That's why God is God. His word is alive and well. He said, I am the Alpha and the Omega. I am the beginning and the end. I is and what's to come. God, word gonna stand. Ain't no two men fixing to survive. So since two men sleeping with men is good, why you got a health emergency in San Francisco, California, and yesterday you got a health emergency in New York, since it's so gay? See, God's word is standing. It's standing. They done took it out of the school. It's standing. They done took it out of the hospitals. It's standing. They trying to take it out of the church, but it's standing. God's world is built inside this world. It's built. He built this world based on his word. That's why you can look. That's why if you talk to your grandparents, they would tell you. I used to talk to my grandfather sometimes, and not that we got along, but I used to come. He was my spiritual advisor, and I went to him one day. I said, "Granddaddy, you know, I just got into it with somebody in school, and they were teasing me about my socks." And my granddaddy said, "Felicia, first of all, you're going to have to get some character. You're going to have to laugh. And God will lead you. You got to learn to put things in the hands of God." He said, "I used to be just like you, girl. I can't imagine you used to actually be like me." He said, "People could set me off on any corner. But I went to God. And God, I started turning things over to God. I put them in it, and God was killing people left and right. They attacked JD. You say, you walk around this town, and people be talking about J.D. Hunter. J.D. Hunter. It ain't that they like me. Don't you think for 1 minute that they like me. It's just that people respect me because I stood my ground. And I stayed with God. Keep your hand in God's hand. God is the same today, yesterday, and tomorrow. The God that knew all of us. You know some crazy moments in your life where you know it was God. Well, that same God is here today. A man can't be a woman. You stand on that. A man can't be a woman. They want to turn your child against you. You stand on what you stand on. Because there is tomorrow. Because God is getting ready to come through this nation and do something they ain't never, ever, ever seen. And you can sit over there all you want to, talking about, well, you know, they've been saying this a long time. God got you saying that. He had the people saying that during Noah time. Noah said, a flood is coming. And it hadn't rained in 40 years. He said, a flood. Oh, Lord. They said, as commentaries I read, they said people would be in the store laughing about Noah. Said, Lord, Noah over there building the ark. Lord, Noah done lost his mind. But see, that's what God do. God put you on impossible things that ain't never been done before. Because he want them to do what they doing. So in other words, everybody always talking about they want to put something on their bedpost to remember their victories, things that they have accomplished. That's just another accomplishment in showing that God is God. God is God. God said, I made Pharaoh for the very purpose. I could have killed him the first day. I had enough on him to kill him. He said, but I allowed, because I wanted to show generations to come, your children, your grandchildren, your great-grandchildren, that no matter who you go against, you do my work. And I remember on that last day, Moses told the children of Israel when they got their reparations. Remember, they got their gold and their money and their silver, and they was headed out. And all of a sudden, they clack, clack, clack. They heard Pharaoh and his chariot coming. And again, they looked at Moses. They said, Moses, ain't this enough graves in Egypt? Moses said, stop. You said, stop. Look at them. Look at them. Because you will never, ever see them no more. But God is going to fight for you today. Not tomorrow. Not no pre-day. God is going to fight for you today. I want you to look at them. So you'll know when this is over with. You'll never see that Pharaoh no more. See, Pharaoh was like president, but Pharaoh had a name. But Pharaoh was just like a title. But he said, you'll never see that Pharaoh no more. You'll never see none of those men in Pharaoh's army anymore. And I want you to take a good look. He said, because God is going to fight for you today. But you got to do what I tell you to do. You got to stand. And as the children of Israel started traveling, God made a way where they went across on dry land. And Pharaoh was so dumb and stupid, he jumped on there thinking and God he got all the way to the middle. And the purpose for him to get to the middle was so he couldn't run to the left, so he couldn't run to the right, so he didn't have, in other words, the same thing that he did to the children of Israel. Always made things impossible. You remember when with the bricks, like I was saying earlier, he made it, they had to meet the same quota but more work. Always making stuff possible. They around talking to some old God. I'm gonna make sure that I'm gonna make sure that they got more work to do. I don't know about this old God they talking about. And that's the same thing that took him out. God took him out on his own premise. It was impossible. And when everything opened up, and people always what gets me with people. Every Bible story in the Bible, you seek to disprove it by saying there's impossible to be on dry land. Somebody, see, you missing the point. He talking to people, trying to put an imagery in your mind so you can understand, because you've been in impossible situations before where you everywhere you look, the same person, they talking. You go over, they talking. They over here, they talking. They over here, they talking. And then one day you didn't. That's the whole, understand the purpose and the point and the moral of the story. Okay? You want to disprove everything that God say, but you got a Caucasian man telling you that he is a woman, and you say, okay, white man, you a woman. Why ain't you disproving that? Why ain't you disproving that? Caucasian people ain't got no heaven to put you in. They don't have no hell to put you in. They don't have all these. They got to go, like when they get that cancer report, they got to go to their knees if they got any sense. When they get that heart, when their heart get to flickering, they got to go to the same. You got to go to the same person I got to go to. You got to pray to the same person I pray to. You think I'm finna go through you to go to them? They got to go. They got to go to God. They cannot do anything without God knowing. And I really understand that. And you might say, well, why, if that's true, then why is it that if you saying that God is in control of everything, why do you say that they are the problem? Because that's how God got it set. Just like God allowed them to do what they doing. You think God not allowing me to do what I'm doing? That's how God got everything set up. And so, don't think that another person is more powerful than you. These people are low down. They are dirty. They are snakes in the grass. They are ungodly. They are antichrist. They against themselves. My daughter put on my Facebook page the other day, she said that's why don't nobody like you. You are nothing but a demon. See, the people that's telling her that, they the devil. They the devil. And everything that they are talking about, don't nobody like me. I don't look for nobody that like me that don't like God. See, if a person don't like God, you actually think that I think they like me. You talking about the Creator. He created the heavens and the earth, the skies, the seas, the lakes, everything. If they don't like a person that can take their very life from them, you think that, and I serve him now. I serve him. So you really actually think, I'm what you call collateral damage. Well, since I can't get hold of God, then I'm going to get you. They ain't trying to get hold of God for real, because you heard what I read on that Great and Dreadful Day. All this talking that they doing, they talking about who they are and what they are. They're going to drop God, so they're going to drop their weapons and run. He already telling them that they just punks. You a coward. That's all you are. You a coward. You a loser. You know, it's a shame before God that the federal government is taking my money, my tax money, minister tax money, minister military record, minister flag, took my mother and turned her against me. I'm saying this is the kind of stuff they think just because they can be dirty, you gonna humbly, oh, well, you know, I'm gonna submit to you. I'm not gonna submit to you. I submit to God. Because see, I know that this gonna be over with. This is gonna be over. Look, God said He's the beginning and the end. Everything got an ending, baby. Every problem got an ending. Every problem. And then we got the federal and the state government going under the disguise of the media, got other people signing their names to the nuclear family was a mistake. And as I read the article, it was very fascinating at how they try to confuse people. They say that this is what the government claims now. The federal and the state government have tried to mitigate the deleterious effects of the trends of the nuclear family. In other words, they trying to say that the federal government tried to reduce the harmful things that was happening against the nuclear family. And the government is the one that contributed to the deleterious effects, the harmful effects of the nuclear family. And so, they tried all right. Let me show you how the government have tried to how they have harmed the nuclear heterosexual family. Number one, they promoting same-sex marriage. It's no such thing as same-sex marriage. That's just a man-made bull jabber. Right now, the government is promoting a man to get pregnant. The government is promoting that a man can have an abortion. The government is promoting that a man can have a menstrual cycle. You know, they're promoting that a man can be a woman. This could not happen. The government is very much aware of what we're talking about. The government is promoting the castration of children's body parts. They are calling it gender affirming care. Gender affirming care is taking the top and taking the bottom, taking the girl breast, taking the boy's penises. Okay, Deuteronomy 1:23 say if a man cut his penis off, he shall not have anything to do with God. And the government sitting here, got somebody in the government, a man, say he a woman, talking about gender affirming care. And this is written in the word of God. Deuteronomy 23:1, that a man will not enter into the kingdom of God if he cut his penis off. When I read that long time ago, I had no idea. I thought that, wow, this is the oldie goldie days. I didn't know in the year 2022, a year 2020, whatever, whenever this started, I had no idea these fools actually sitting around here. And you said what? God is crazy. He a hoax, and he already got this written. He got this written. He got this written. God is. That's why I serve God. God is a precise God. He's a precision God. He not a let me go make a decision, I'll be right back. God said in his word that, you know, I am the beginning. I am the end. The government, the Supreme Court. I knew the Supreme Court was wrong when they first said that two men could get married. I knew that was wrong then. And then in 5 days after we went out there and got Donald Trump elected, I ain't say inauguration now. I'm saying 5 days after he got elected, like on the 13th of November. He said, I don't have no problem with same-sex marriage. I didn't even know this until years later, because we were so into just normal surviving and living. You know, I've just caught up with a lot of this stuff. But he's sitting around talking about he don't have no problem. That's what everybody had a problem with that voted for him. And then,
at least that was, you know,
you so-called Christians out there, you getting around here talking about you not homophobic. Okay, so who you trying to prove that to? You trying to prove that to God, or you trying to prove it to some old stupid white man talking about he gonna be a woman? What you trying to prove to him? You not homophobic. You not homophobic. I'm gonna be punchophobic if you keep calling me names. I'm gonna be all kind of focused. Why can't you be God? I'm afraid of God. I'm afraid of the word of God. I'm afraid of what God would do to me if I sit down and promote something like that. I'm not afraid of no silly looking male talking about he finna be a woman. And you doing this to children. You doing this to children. You know why you doing this to children? You know you couldn't even get up enough support with grown people talking about you finna be a woman. You know, anybody would logically say, yeah, right. You know, that's a sick person. You know, you standing up in the face of children. Telling my daughter that Leviticus 18 and 22, that's not related to same sex. That's related to a man incesting with his son. You know, you just sitting up and you think, in other words, they trying to make us look like, in other words, they trying to show you that you having children out of wedlock, which you should know that's wrong, and you should even you should know what I'm saying to be true. They trying to make you feel good. Well, you know, look what happened to people when they have children out of wedlock. They children know better than my children. Don't you fool yourself about that. Don't fool yourself. And the people that's telling you that, they just making a fool out of you. Because if you do wrong, just like in my life, I have done things wrong. I don't try to sit up here and try to make it right. I just said, well, I have done things wrong. You know, period. I don't try to make, you can't make, and that's you on the road to recovery when you say that, okay, this was wrong what I did. I should have, you know, my children should have had a choice of whether they should have a father or not. I didn't. And these people that go around and say, well, my dad is the reason why I didn't do anything. Then they go have a house full of children and don't none of them have, not only do they not have a daddy, they got different daddies. So you a grown ass person sitting up here talking about your daddy. You got 4 or 5 children. So how you think they gonna feel? Their feelings don't count. See, it's not about that. It ain't about your dad. It's about you just a sorry piece of nothing. You ain't nothing anyway. Because my dad had a 3rd grade education. My mother was sick all the time. And I wanted to grow up so I could do something for them. You know, I didn't sit down and say, well, my daddy wasn't at home. Well, my daddy was this. And my daddy was that. I took the negativity in their life and tried to say, I'm going to do better with my life. My mother tried to abort me 3 times. I said, when I first heard that, I said, you know, one thing I'm not going to do. I'm not going to get in a situation where I got to make a decision like that. I'm doing wrong now, but I'm going to eventually do right. I'm going to go to school. I'm going to get my education. I'm going to get married. Then I'm going to have children. And I'm going to make sure I marry somebody that I don't mind having children with. And so that came from, see, that's a person that's trying to be godly. I didn't try to go and get in a situation and start having children and say, well, you know, I had to do this and I had to do that. You know, if you have sex unprotected, then a child coming. Now you should know that. Your parents did that, so you should try to be better. You don't try to supersede your parents, and most people don't supersede their parents. They not even good as their parents. They just want to be just a nasty person sitting around accusing somebody. Yeah, true enough. Not having a father in the home, it does affect you. But it should affect you in a way where I'm going to make sure my children have a father. I'm going to make sure I'm married to my children's father. Because I don't like the feeling I get from this. I'm going to make sure I go to school. I'm going to make sure. No, you want to make sure you worse than your parents. You want to make sure you're a worse version than your parents and sitting down accusing them and they still better than you. See, that's what get me with people. And that's what this world is all about. Now this situation, just like, say for example, I'm going to show you how Caucasian people try to make a laughing stock out of us. In this article, the nuclear family was a mistake. Guess what I discovered in this article? And they had enough nerve to put this on paper. they said that in the black community, over 50% of the families are led by unmarried single women. But in the white community, only 1/6 of the communities are led by single women. Okay, but when you turn on TV, all these homosexuals is white, but they got more. Well, undercover, they write down on paper that, hey, this, we're trying to eviscerate you at every cost. And then this article went on to further say that the incarceration of black men guarantees a shortage of available men to black women. The incarceration of black men guarantee this shortage that they claiming that they tried to mitigate. They ain't tried to mitigate anything. They just wanted to see what was the effect of it and then report that to us. And they did this one way through the 1994 crime bill, which Joe Biden was the author of. Okay? But see, Trump tried to do a crime bill himself. But he tried to do an invisible crime bill, see, he did the same thing. He got enough nerve to stand around and talk about we don't deserve reparations. He got enough nerve to say that the criminal justice system is not systemically racist against us. But every lawsuit he done filed, he talk about the systemicalism and how it's affected him. See, that's what get me with old Donald Trump. The hell with you and your problem. The hell with you contacting my administration for 4 years. Nobody is doing anything to you. And now the least little thing they do to him, he out hollering around. I heard him at one rally talking about he being persecuted. My man, you not being persecuted. You got the Republican National Conference paying your legal fee versus us. We couldn't even get a lawyer. And you knew it. And we contacted your attorney general. We contacted the color of law FBI, the criminal law, the FBI of the criminal division. We contacted the CIA, which I know that's not their job, but I contacted anybody I could contact when they violated our rights. Civil Rights Division. We contacted everybody. Now, back to the statistics. They said 25% of black women over 35 years old have never been married versus only 8% of white women never been married. Now, they are saying that 2/3 of our black children live in a single parent home, where only 25% of white children live in a single home. Plus, they got a support system now. The system not against them. Where their father is not there, they got other resources that's going to help them. And guess what else they had enough nerve to say? They say these black single parent families, they are concentrated precisely in the parts of the country where slavery was prevalent. They say most of these single parent families, they used the term precisely in the parts of the country where slavery was prevalent. In other words, you think you out of slavery, they're going to do a double whammy to you. Because you got enough nerve to march and think you going to get some type of civil rights. And so, I don't know, like some of these black people walk around talking about they don't have no problem, there's no systemic racism. All I can say is live on. Maybe the reason why you don't have a problem with systemic racism, maybe because you are part of the problem of tokenism, see? Because you ain't got no business talking like that. If you think that, like you were saying, all you do is use George Floyd and his criminal record and how it was this and how it was that. But think about all these black men that's getting out of prison now after 30 or 40 years. They found out they weren't even at the scene of the crime. So you saying nothing, and all these cases of 30 men getting out of jail at 20, 30, and 40, these are black men. These are not Caucasians. But Caucasians are the ones that's trying to make the decision on what's affecting us and what's not affecting us. And so I tell you one thing. Caucasian people have done everything in their power, along with these simple-minded black homosexuals, to destroy our black heterosexual nuclear family. And now you telling my daughter, she calling me and call me every name up under the sun, because you telling her to call me a bitch. Why don't you call me a bitch? You want me to tell you who the new bitch is? These white men walking around talking about they women. See, that's the new bitch. See, you got my daughter calling me a bitch. Why don't you stop like you talking about hide? I have a right to depend on my husband and for him to depend on me. No one is we ain't never hear from nobody from the pits of Alabama to Detroit, Michigan. We ain't never hear from nobody. But I ain't gonna just stand there and let you just violate my rights. You think I'm just gonna sit there and let you violate my rights to try to prove something to you? But telling us to take her picture down, they took her out of our home 6 years ago illegally. Can you imagine that? And they got enough nerves to use her in this fashion. And you talking about a damn picture. And talking about who we are and what we gonna do and what we not gonna do. You know, I tell you what, stop using the resources of the government and come out. I'll show you what I do to you now. Because that stuff you doing to children, you shouldn't even be alive. I'm praying for the death angels to descend upon you and yours. Anybody, like all these statistics here, you got all this homosexual thing, and then behind black people back, you still got your families in so-called intact. You're just eviscerating black people, and black people just sitting there. Then you want to try to tell us how to feel about something. Well, people shouldn't bring up the past. You don't tell me what to bring up. I can bring up the past, I can bring up the future, and I can bring up what is to come. You don't tell me. And then you got black people walking around talking about how has slavery affected you. The same way it's affected you. You know, what caused you to pull off the actions that you pulling off, talking about what somebody else is doing? And if it ain't affecting you, it's going to affect you one day. And you know, and our daughter just seemed to be just so upset. It's almost like a rendition of my mother, all back over again. But the only difference with my mother and Iyanla, she was 13 years old. And as far as I'm concerned, she's 13 years old now. Because this is when this stuff started. And they got her just on some type of tip. Like, well, I take care of myself. I do this program, I do that program. But that's my tax money. That's your daddy tax money. That's other people, mom and dad. They got you thinking that they doing something for you. Girl, you don't know the things that Caucasian people have taken from me, you, our family. You have really actually forgotten about everything. But the stuff that they trying to make you think they doing for you, they not doing that for you. That's the money of taxpayers. That's the money from law-abiding citizens. And this is what people are complaining about. These people have all these programs, and the only thing these programs do is the opposite of what they say they're going to do. Well, we child protection services, we're going to protect the children. No, they child predator services. They supposed to be protecting children from abuse and from harm. They come walking up in my house talking about a homosexual now. Talking. And then when I start talking to him, he can't talk. Then he go behind your back and tell your daughter, well, I went over there and your parents played innocent. Baby, I didn't play innocent. I am innocent. I am innocent. And God is going to vindicate us. You just keep doing what you're doing. Because you coming down the right road. I can see that road so clear. Because see, I studied the word of God. You coming down the right, I won't say the right road, but you messing with the right person. You know, they are doing all that talking, but they won't. I've said everything I've said here, I've said in people's face. I went and told Michael Jackson, Wayne Jackson, the district attorney in Selma, Alabama, I told him to his face he was a punk. Just like we went down to the courthouse to get Bob Armstrong. He called the police out there, telling us they're gonna throw us in jail because we was riding around the courthouse calling him old punk ass crackers. So I don't know who in the hell you supposed to be getting this information from. But I know who I am and I know what I stand on. And even the people that you associating with, I've probably gotten into it with those people. You know, I can just go on and on and on and on and on and on and on about everything. The people you associate with, hell, white folks have walked up to them and slapped them and took stuff from them that can't never be replaced. And I had enough nerve to get on the phone and call you just like you supposed to have their back on something. I don't have nobody back that don't have my back. Period. That's why I walk alone. That's why we walk alone. But I'm not out there. I'm not gonna be out there on no limb fooling around with no messy person out there, you know, calling people, just doing all kinds of dumb stuff. My life don't consist of anything like that. My life consists of what I'm telling you that my life consists of. And so it's a shame that like I say, she's so upset. I'm just wondering what have they done to her, if you know what I mean. I just hope to God that they ain't played no type of cutting game on her, because the way she's acting, that's a shame before God. No child, whether your parents raised you or not, and I know I raised her. She didn't forgot about the 13 years. She had a family at home. You all took her out of the family. See, she can't think about all that stuff at one time, but I can. I know what you did. God know. That's the main thing. God know. And God is bringing this stuff out. And we thought this was just a Selma, Alabama thing. God said, no, this is a United States of America. This is a global problem. I wanna bring it all the way out. You just stand firm. Jesus Christ said, go to the top of the mountain and shout out whatever I tell you to say. These people have made me all kind of offers in Selma, telling me that if I was to get out of politics, they'll drop all the charges against me. First of all, you don't have no real charges on me, and I'm not getting out of politics. Since I'm so crazy, why are you trying to make deals with me talking about getting out of politics? And then you go, now they over there with my daughter telling her that we losers. We lost everything. And see, them words gonna come one of these days. That's gonna come ringing back to her mind. And one thing that she said to me that was kind of fascinating. She said, "That's why don't nobody like you." And I want to just say it like this, baby. If they don't like me, and they telling you that, you think they really like you? See, a person. See. That's what I was trying to explain to my. That's what I was trying to explain to my mother. And my mother is an adult. Was an adult, but she had issues and a lot of challenges. And that's what I was trying to explain to my mother. I said, look, Lewis is your son. You know how my granddaddy raised us. He don't look at his in-laws as his daughter-in-law. He look at them like they his daughter, because he want their parents to treat his son the same and daughters the same way. This is your son. You don't get on no phone with no district attorney and he telling you, well, we're not trying to get Felicia, we trying to get old Lewis. I said, you can't, it don't work like that. If they don't like old Lewis and they don't like old Felicia, they don't like you. And look at what they did to my mother. Got her in the middle of Selma. Like she gonna raise my child. She didn't raise me. And that's the honest truth. That's not me being disrespectful. That's just me. A lot of us was raised by our grandparents. Put it like that. A lot of us was raised by our grandparents. You know, and that's just simple as that. Minister was raised by his grandparents. All of us was. A lot of my friends was raised by their grandparents. And so, in the situation with my daughter, you know, she got parents. I could see if we was dead. We alive. And they over there taking her out of the home, trying to pretend like she said, we would never come to court. Come to court? We didn't have a lawyer. They didn't want to put, they told us we couldn't have a lawyer. They tell her one thing, tell us something else. And it's just an ongoing, we've been on Facebook since that happened. We leave 2 or 3 months sometime because it's tiresome. But we've been on the case 24/7. Went to 10 states to get our daughter. 10 states. Can you imagine that? Can you imagine somebody having that type of zeal? 10 states. And still, then the pandemic hit. You know, see, this is a God thing. This was beyond our control, because God's will is going to be done. God's will, I don't care what you want. God's will is going to be done. And the people that's talking, why don't you go somewhere and fight? Go down to the courthouse and fight for your rights somewhere. You need to be doing something, because getting in my business with my daughter, you just asking, because I'm asking God for the death angel. And I'm very serious. I don't play around with people that need to be, in other words, it's time out for something. You meet some people 20 years ago, 20 years later, they still messy. They still doing the same thing. Ain't did anything with their life. Your life advancing, they still, Felicia. Well, Felicia what? See, that's what she don't understand. Is I told Liana that as a child, I can have a lot of friends now. I can have a lot of backstabbing people around me. I choose not to have that. Girl, I choose that for my life, because my life is bigger than that. I knew that ever since I was a child, that my life was not what you call, it's traditional, but my life not going to be like the average person my age. My life going to be, my grandfather even said that my life is beyond my years. I'm going to be beyond my years. I know people. I know people. People have done things to me that's unbelievable, and they still sitting around talking, and they ain't talking about nothing. But messing with Iyanla, you surely gonna get what you should have been got. And that's for anybody and everybody that's involved in this. God is God. God is not trying to be God. You can be smart. And what bothered me so bad about the phone call with her was, my husband was telling her, which is her father, he said, Iyanla, God, she said, I ain't thinking about no God. And you all got her talking like that. They know that they setting her on a certain course. That's what make you so nasty. That's why people like me have a problem with Caucasians. See, that's why I got a problem with you. You sitting up there telling a child to disrespect her parents. Everybody know, honor thy, and she talking on it, whatever, honor thy mother, thy father. She think that's something, she think that's a lightweight problem. That's not a lightweight problem. That's one of the commandments. That's not optional. That's not an optional where you can obey your parents. When you turn a certain age, then you don't have to. That's not even optional. That's a commandment from God Almighty. Honor thy mother and thy father, that thy days may be longer in the land of the Lord thy God giveth thee. That's going to determine. I've seen people disrespect their daddies and mamas early grade. And I hate to say that, but I have to say that because that's one of the things that, like, sometimes ministers talk to me, and I think he suspects that some things bother me. And I remember a minister asked me one day, he said, Felicia, what do you think you could have done different with the situation with your mother or with any situation? I said, I don't know. I never thought about that. I said, let me give me a little time to think. I said, I didn't know that that was my last time talking to her when I talked to her. If I could do things back over again, I wish I had more insight into death, more insight into hell, more insight into homosexuality, being able to explain, being like my God, being precise, really being more precise. And this is why I talk about death, because that seems to be the only thing that triggers people. People that, and other than that, a person will just walk around. That's and when I was telling her that, she was telling my husband, she said, I want to speak to that bitch. Why can't she talk? And my husband and so I finally got tired, and I just told her, I said, look, Yana, I said, the reason why I don't want to talk to you is because, number one, the way you are talking, I don't want to be the person that send you to an early grave. I said, because you are knocking on a door that I'm telling you, and she just asked minister, did you hear her? Did you hear what she said? He said, yeah. He said, I keep telling you, that's the only, she don't want to see, in other words, these Caucasian people, that's the road they setting her on. They proud to set her on their road because they want to do anything and everything in their power to try to hurt us and what we stand for. I stand on the premises of God. I don't care what death come from. I'm still gonna believe in God. My mama died in my face listening to Caucasians. I still believe in God. My grandmother, I still believe in God. I stand on the premises of God, because God has never let me down. I'm gonna admit this is a long journey right here. I mean, it's a long journey. I mean, it's twists and turns and turns and twists. But you know, but she seemed like, in other words, that's the effect that I wanted to try to explain to her, that, you know, I'm not going to do her like Caucasian. I know Caucasian people don't like her. I know they don't like your birth. They don't like the fact that you was born with a man and a woman inside of a marriage, out of wedlock. They want us to be in the statistics of explaining how nobody we are to have children out of wedlock. See, they promote that, but then they go and write on paper, well, you know, in comparison to the white people think that's a freak show to be having children out of wedlock. They actually be writing this stuff down in black people's face, and they just don't understand. Girl, they don't like your birth. They don't like your mother. I don't care nothing about them. I don't want them to like me. I want my reparation. I'm trying to tell you, I don't care that a person don't like me that hung my people from trees and got enough nerve to tell me about it. And now you trying to tell me, well, then you using my pain and my trouble to win election. Racist this, racist that. How can I trust what is racist? You Caucasian just like the people you talking about. You know, in other words, you know, we as black people, you know how we are treated, right? Now they sitting around using this to win an election. They know that about systemic racism. That's why the Republicans said, well, that's their talking point. No, baby, that's more. It might be a talking point, but it's true. There is still systemic racism. It's just that these people are trying to, you know, in other words, they making a laughing stock out of what we have to deal with, what we have to do. Systemic racism. They able to take my daughter out of the home. Michael Wayne Jackson of the 4th Judicial Circuit charged me and my husband with 3rd-degree felony burglary just because he a homosexual and we not. And we real estate brokers. And this is true. I don't know if this is going to have to happen to you, because so far, that's the way everything planning out. We start telling people different things. It look like things got to happen to you and yours before you even understand what anybody is telling you. Now, I don't know if that's good, but only thing I say is I hope that I just pray that she hasn't messed up something that's beyond repair. Because that, you know, I serve God. When I get through with at the end of any day, I sit down and I think about that course of the day. And when I talk to her, I think about the conversation. I think, that's just why is one of the last things she said was that I'm a homosexual, and minister told her, said, no, so you probably just going. That's a phase. A woman can't be a homosexual. That's just a phase you going through. And they got her sitting there talking about I'm a homosexual. You got her saying that. And I just pray to God. I had went to God in prayer with that. I asked God. I said, God, I know my daughter is wrong, but please lighten the burden. I pray that these people that got her doing that are influencing her to do that, please, whatever you got on her, put it on them. They deserve it. Now she has to pay for what she got to pay for. Cause everybody gonna have to pay. I can't stop her from paying for nothing now. That's the way God got everything set up. That's why people tell you God is a God of respect of persons, meaning that He don't play favoritism. That's why He got the law written, and you go at it. Cause you gonna pay for everything. But I just pray to God that just with the fact that it happened when she was 13 years of age, if I got anything to do with changing the course of anything that she did wrong, please lighten the burden for her. But the people that are behind that, the people that are talking to her, please just I pray for the death angels. The death angels need to descend upon you and your children and anything that you got, you love, your husband, your wife, whatever it is. Because a lot of you that's in position don't even have children. Whatever you got, really you need to be gone. And that's just the absolute truth. And so I'm seeing the situation with, like I say, the difference is Iyanla is a child. It is a child type of situation, but I'm still seeing the same scenario play out. And I begged my mother. I said, please do not get involved with this. Your mind can't deal with this. I'm telling you, these people, only thing they're going to do is try to turn you against me. Oh, it ain't no way I'm going to turn against my own daughter. Well, I'm thinking to myself, she been turning against me all my life. So, in other words, I knew when she was saying that this, I don't know how this going to end. But it's not going to end well. But I didn't have no idea that was my absolute last time, talking. The last time I talked to my mother, she called me on the telephone. And I said, well, I don't know what to say to you. And she started cursing me out, calling me all kind of names and stuff like that. And I told her, I said, I'm fixing to call the police station, and I'm fixing to tell them right now that they better not. I'm tired of them pushing you up and got you doing what you doing. I said, now this is wrong. But I wasn't talking about calling the police on her. I wanted to call them and let them know that I'm very much aware of they making a fool out of my mama. So I called the police station, and I told them, I said, look, the operator, I told her, I said, look, let me tell you something. I said, this is Felicia Owens Dixon. I got a business down the street from the police department. And you know me. I want you to write this message down and tell them, whoever got my mother calling and making a fool out of my mother, if she call back again, I'm going to bring a federal lawsuit against you. Now leave her alone. You done did enough damage. You know what the operator told me? She said, I'll give them the message. Now, what them she was talking about, but guess what? She didn't call no more. And I'm trying to tell you, this stuff, I was even trying to talk to her then. I said, Bob Armstrong is nothing. Michael Jackson is nothing. I said, now look at the situation they got you in now. In other words, she became so angry. But she basically wanted to try to see if we could, She wanted me to take stuff to another point when it was out of my hands. I had lost everything. And now I'm dealing with the same scenario right here, right now with my daughter. And my daughter just 19 years old. And you sitting around trying to say, you telling her that I'm some type of punk or something. You know I'm not. I'm a woman, and you know I'm not a punk. And you know I'm a woman that carry a big stick. I don't play. You know when I walk in the room, I'm gonna say what I see. I don't try to walk in the room from no degree I got and try to talk in no other language. The only language I know is nigger language. That's all I talk when I walk anywhere, especially when I'm dealing with a bunch of homosexuals. Then you got black homosexuals sitting there nasty, sorry ass around in these district attorney seats. And to be specific, I'm talking about Michael Wayne Jackson. Now, you complaining about the new district attorneys they got in, about they soft on crime. And they probably not soft on crime. Well, look how this stuff came about. You around here want to play this game talking about a criminal. Who you think a criminal is? You saying that, and then when you mention criminal, you always got a black man on a bicycle inside of a store stealing a few bags. I'm not saying that that's right. I'm not even saying that by a long shot. But what I'm saying is, why can't we discuss what is a criminal? You know, just like if a grown person get in a position and cut off a child's body part, and the child, Chloe Cole, been coming out trying to talk about this. Who is the criminal that's behind that? Who is the criminal doctor that's behind it? Who is the criminal therapist that's behind it? You know, Joe Biden is supporting that. Isn't he a criminal? What do you mean a criminal? Every time you talk about a criminal, old Fox got a black man, always got a black man jumping in a car. And AOC, and I would have to believe some things. I know AOC ain't telling the truth, but I heard AOC say something one day, because I had kind of suspected it anyway. She said, you know those pictures that they have of black men, those pictures are 20 and 30 and 40 years old, and they manipulate the dates. And you know what? I ain't got no reason not to believe her. And then let me tell you why I don't have a reason not to believe her. You around there trying to manipulate a white man's body telling me he a woman. So I know you a manipulator tape. But every time you all talk about crime, you always trying to talk about black men or criminals, and we haven't even gotten our reparations yet. And in the same sentence, you're saying that we don't deserve reparations, as though you not know atonement. God is just revealed to us to let you know what you owe us, because He's gonna take care of the rest. You actually think that I'm sitting here? In other words, you think I'm sitting here trying to explain to you or trying to beg you? I'm not trying to beg for anything. I'm just trying to tell you what thus said the Lord. You know, that's in the Bible. The Bible clearly says in Proverbs 14:9, He said only a fool mark at reparation. Only a fool. You all sit around and you just laughing. You think that's a joke? You think that's a joke to have us as black people subjected to all this leadership? I even hear people talking about I hear you talking about the people that supported Donald Trump and what need to happen to them. First of all, you are the ones that choosing all these people. Yeah, a person go to the poll and vote, but you choosing these people for people to vote for. Who is choosing these people? Who in the hell put Donald Trump there and tried to make him the epic center of masculinity, of an alpha male family? That's the criminal. You are the real criminal. And so I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm a very honest person. I'm very bold in my statement. I don't even like the idea that I have to even try to be nice towards you. Because the things you have done to me, the things you have done to my black people, I don't even like the idea sometimes that I have to even be nice towards somebody that actually then hung my people from trees, and now they telling me that, well, you know, we gonna make everything hard for you, and we expect for you to do the same thing that everybody else got support systems on. Everybody else got a support system but black people, and you expecting for us you expecting you sound like Pharaoh. You want to take the mortar out of the brick, you go find the mortar for the brick and then produce the same quota. You sound like Pharaoh. And this is what you expecting of black people. You thinking, I'm a Christian, I'm a devout Christian. We gonna see. We gonna see. You always talking about you a Christian. See, the Bible speak about stuff like that. You just hiding behind Christianity. You are hiding behind Christianity. And so, okay, let's define what a criminal is. And I ain't talking about these black guys in these stores with these bags on these bicycles. Okay, let's just get. I'm so sick of that. And I'm not saying that nothing should be done, but you don't show those white kids stealing all that stuff down there at Saks Fifth Avenue during the pandemic. So you're not showing that. I just noticed that. But it's criminal for a government to promote, castrate, emasculate, and or allow children body parts to be removed because of some fad talking about he a woman. You know, in other words, I'm the criminal because I call them punks, but they gay. They, you know, in other words, they get a standing ovation for castrating children. You know, a Buddha is not a cootie. They telling us that we gonna respect something that waste come out of. This is basically what they telling us. They saying that they call this the gay community. Your booty hole is used for boo boo. And they saying this what you gonna. That's what they telling you. You want to talk now? You want to talk all out? Hey, I'm more of a master at talking like that than talking intellectual. I can talk both ways. But this is basically what they telling us. They telling us that we gonna respect a booty hole. We gonna respect homosexuality. We gonna respect settled law. This is settled law from on high. A man that sleep with a man is an abomination. But they are saying that, as people say, you want to put lipstick on a pig. You want to sit up there and try to, everything that's bad, you going to make it good. A child curse their parents, disobey their parents, talk about their parents. This, you know, we're going to promote this. This is what we promote. So you think you promoting that through me by me telling people that and other children hearing that. But you'll be surprised at what this is doing in heaven. See, it's angels. It's death angels. It's lining up right now. You'll be surprised at what you really doing. Because I pray to God day and night.
I mean, the folk ready to have church.
Criminal. You talking about a criminal. This is the worst insurrection I ever seen in the history. Talking about insurrection. Going against God and God's law and God's settled law. Right now, since homosexuality, like I said earlier, I didn't finish it. New York State just declared a state disaster emergency for the monkeypox outbreak, Minister. And they say that New York City is the epicenter of this monkeypox outbreak. And they walk around talking about, and you know one thing that disturbed me, a white doctor was over to CNN the other day, yesterday, and the host was asking him, so how can we contain this monkeypox to make sure that the outbreak don't get worse? Guess what he said? Well, we got to get vaccination out to the men that have sex with men. This is a doctor now. This is a doctor. He said this is how to contain. He said nothing about, don't do it. Maybe you should practice celibacy. Maybe you should wear protection. Because if you giving monkeypox out, you ain't even wearing no protection. Because that's just like any other if you got a sexually transmitted disease, if you don't use no protection, aren't you gonna give it? Well, protection still don't protect from sexually transmitted diseases, though. I don't think so. I don't know. So that's the kind of stuff they need to be studying with other things. They steadily sitting up, I'm gay. Breaking news story, monkeypox. And then you take the most disgusting pictures and put them on the TV. I don't know how nobody else out there feel. But it's hard for my flesh to crawl up. But when I first saw that monkeypox, I'm not lying to you, I had to go and get in the tub and take a bath. And I had nightmares. I just itched just at the whole thought of it. And they sitting around now trying to. I saw one news host talking about, well, let me see how I'm gonna say this. He said I think it was Friday. I don't wanna say nothing bad to the LGBT community. Let me see. So monkeypox is okay. The group that it's affecting is. Wait, I don't mean no harm before I say this now. But it is the group it's affecting is men having sex with men. But I don't mean no harm now. He's just saying I don't mean no harm. And the same person, I ain't got nothing. I'm not taking up for nobody. This same host, I heard him one day say Farrakhan was a homophobe. Any type of black person, anybody black that's teaching anything against homosexuality, they don't mind sitting there calling them names. But come to a white man talking about he a woman, he giving out and he spraying monkeypox. Well, I don't want to say this. I don't want to. Look at the kind of world we in now. And then you showing those disgusting pictures. You got enough nerves to show us stuff like that. You got enough nerves to show us stuff like this. And these people are nasty. I never seen anything as talking about a man can be a woman, and if I talk about if I say a man can't be a woman, Zuckerberg pinged me right, but he don't say nothing to the man that can't be a woman, huh? He don't say nothing to the man, and I call people by name. He ain't saying nothing to Rachel Levine. Only thing I said was he's a monkeypox spreader. But he ain't saying nothing. But Levine sitting there insulting me, tall, man, talking about he a woman. And if I talk against that, then I'm the one that's wrong. And then the President of the United States, what can you do? He out talking about some transgender day and God made you in his image and all this. So, Biden, you need to stop. You talking about he don't want nobody to disrespect them and their families, the trans family. So what about the black heterosexual? We've been disrespected at every level. At every level.
Biden is proud because he got some pride back in the White House.
All I can say is you messing on some dangerous grounds when you start invoking God's name in the wrong way and you making up stuff. All that stuff you making all that stuff up. Come on, God made everybody. God made, if he made you a man, he made you a man in his image. Okay? Period. And then in the same verse, God, Biden's own words is rising up against him. In the same verse now. I ain't talking about the next verse. In the same verse, when he said God created you in his own image, male and female. Biden administration said there's no such thing as a male and a female. There's no such thing as a woman. Now they saying they need to redefine woman. They don't even have a definition for woman no more. You know what? This is foolish. This is nutty. And you got enough nerve to walk around and call people crazy? This is the craziest. I ever seen. You know what I wanted to say.
It's terrible. Like about 2 or 3 weeks ago, I was watching TV and they had looked like this Latino. She was like a congresswoman or a representative or something, but she was like I know she was in the government, in the state government. They asked her, they never asked nobody no point blank question like that, on a show like that. They said, hey, do you think a man could get pregnant? She said, yes. That's not what it is. She was on her way across the border or something and say, now, do you believe a woman can, what is it? A man can get pregnant? And she said yes, and that means, okay, you can go right on through. For some reason, that's how my mind works.
And the people that was complaining about her saying that, like Sean Hannity got a man sitting up at his show talking about he a woman. And he can do it. I fully transitioned this year, and then he talking about this lady. To me, I can't believe she said that. Well, you doing it?
Yeah.
Well, she saying you doing it.
Really? That's why I don't understand how they could be on national news stations.
Because they think that they can talk about black people. They got more respect for a white man telling me he a woman than a black person. And they sit in your face showing you this, and they got other black people that's helping them to promote this type of stuff. Yeah, she said it, but you doing it. You think she don't see you on your show? You say you evolved. She heard you. The only difference between you and her, she young. She younger. And maybe her mind will get to a better point. You are old. You ain't old, but you old enough to know. You know can't no man fully transition. Fully transition to where? To hell? So, one thing we must understand is that the government cannot be God. The government wants to be God. But see, that's impossible. The government cannot be God. The government cannot be a father. The government cannot be a mother. The government can't be your wife. Can't be your husband. Can't be your mother. Can't be your father. The government won't even be the government. The government is supposed to be promoting civility and protecting us as citizens from the real criminals. They're saying that a criminal is a black man and woman. We're an existential threat. And I saw a breaking news story Friday where they say that systemic racism is a national security threat now in the country. So you saying all this stuff, where's our reparation? Where is my lawsuit? Why have you not paid my lawsuit off? Since you know all this, so you think this is a game, don't you? You think this is a game that you a Caucasian, you can tell me what's an existential threat, when is an existential threat, but nothing involved in atonement. Nothing, no type of nothing. You think this is a game for you. But you know what? I tell you what, you're going to wish one day you had a pay. I can promise you that. You're going to wish you had a pay. You can take it for what it's worth. I hope you take what I said then and really lock your mind and heart. Because trust me, you're going to pay. You ain't going to keep walking around here looking up at me and talking. I'm trying to tell you, because while you looking at me and talking, I'm praying. How much you a white man identify as a woman? So, and we're supposed to sympathize with this kind of bull. In the meantime, the hell with what we are talking about. Black people, they're like right now, Caucasian people they don't have see, a lot of people look at Caucasian people like they so full of hate, which that's true. But see, the main thing about Caucasian people that you need to understand, they don't have the ability to look out for you. See, red birds hang with red birds. Blue birds hang with blue birds. You understand what I'm saying? See, the truth is just the truth. They don't have the ability to look out. That's what the whole civil rights movement was about. Black people getting in positions that look like you, that'll feel for you, that'll do something for you. But they slick-legged us with that. Yeah, we got black faces and they was homosexual, see. They slick-legged us with that. That's why we kept saying, wow, you know, why we got black people there, but black people look like they worse. And now we understand what has really happened to us. And the government said that they have done everything in their power. In this article, the nuclear family was a mistake to increase the marriage rate. They have boosted fertility. They have pushed down divorce rates, and that's just a lie. That's the biggest lie. And they got this woman with the Manhattan Institute called Kay Jimenez. She said that she examined the wreckage caused by the decline of the American family. She said just with the whole idea, because we don't have nuclear families, they think that they are smart. This is what's causing the whole. Matter of fact, God got 3 divine institutions, and He made them in the following order: marriage, family, one. That's the first thing He did now in the whole universe. Now this is what they say they tired of. This is what causing the problem. We causing the problem. God made them in this order: marriage, family. Okay, government second, then the church. This is the order. But the first thing He did was marriage, family. And they write articles up against God. And guess what they are saying? Here's what these fools are saying about the nuclear family. They said when the nuclear family flourished, it was not normal. It was a freakish historical moment when everybody in society had conspired to obscure its essential fragility. Do you understand what I just said then? These fools are trying to say that everybody in society, we got together and our parents got together and conspired. They knew that the nuclear family wasn't no good, but they hatched a plot together and hid that it was necessary to have a nuclear family, because they said a nuclear family was easy to be broken. So this is the time in history where we had a freakish historical moment. Now, I don't know how you all feel, but I feel a freakish moment right now. Don't you, Minister?
Yeah, without no feeling. That's a problem. I can't really see life just, but then I kind of understand now that it takes a fool to actually understand some of the wisdom of God. You got to just stop, and you got to just go off to, you got to meditate probably. But it's just a terrible that. The only reason why, but I knew it was gonna be some messed up stuff when you got to have a Caucasian and a black person somewhere on a white, black, however you want, and then the law working in the favor of just messed up with you, quite frankly. How can somebody charge you in a court of law for not being a homosexual, and then the government co-signs that? Right now, I can't see how they gonna justify. How could it? I don't even want to talk to nobody. It can justify cutting on a child. That right there is not even up for debate. For people to bring into controversy, why was the civil rights movement? The civil rights movement came about because of law and order.
And then I don't like the idea that they are hiding behind our daughter. See, when a person say that I'm doing something, then I have to look very deep into what they're doing. First of all, she's 19 years old. She don't understand the dynamics of this situation. See, she don't really understand black versus white. As we was beginning to get into that, then here you all come. She don't understand God versus the devil. See, a lot of people think that the devil is somebody walking around with a red pitchfork in the ground. The devil is here. as a person. You know, pay attention. So she don't understand the dynamics of stuff like that. You got her fighting a fight for you. See, I don't need my children fighting for me. I have to fight for my children. But I know people like that though. You know, got their children out somewhere fighting for them. But you have to pay for things like that. See, when you do stuff like that, eventually you're going to have to pay for stuff like that. I don't need her, because I've been fighting for her ever since she been in this world, because I felt like, you know, she was up against something. And so it's just, you just a nasty, stinky devil is what you are. That's all you are. You walking around talking about, yeah, I'm the devil. Okay, and you the devil, so what? I'm saying you are under the authority of the God that I serve. My God is not under your authority. And you know this. You out here with hiding behind a 19-year-old child, pushing her up to commit the worst sin in the world of cursing her parents out, of telling her, trying to say that she's a homosexual, and all this other I pray to God for the death angels, and I'm very serious about that. That's a shame before God. And you call yourself trying to tell her that, yeah, but every time we talk to them, they always playing innocent. I don't play innocent. I am innocent. I don't believe a man. I know for a fact a man can't beat no woman. That's stupid. You know, that's just straight up. That's just dumb. That's stupid. That's the stupid. You know, I thought when I learned that the devil went in the ground, I thought that was stupid, that I had learned that all that year. Now this is really, this right here, hey, that top everything. You got Caucasian men walking around talking about they finna be a woman. I don't ever remember any time in my life where I had to go and say that I'm a woman. I had to walk in, I'm a woman. You know, it's just like second nature to me. I walk, just like the other day when I went in the door, a man automatically opened the door for a woman. That's just a part of, that's just something that people do. As a matter of fact, I was trying to open the door for an older man. You know what he told me? He said, you know what? I should be opening that door for you. My mama will come from the grave and hit me right now if she thought for 1 second I didn't open the door for a woman. I'm saying that's just a natural, you know, that's a natural phenomenon. Now here you gonna take your big foot somewhere and put a dress on. You actually think, then you go around and say, I don't know why they don't treat me like they treat a woman, because you're not a woman. Because you're not a woman. So you think a black man gonna come all the way from slavery and had to hear this all his life, and he finna treat you like you a woman? And this is kind of foolery, and they doing all this to keep from black people from having, like you talking about, you finna tell black people how to raise their children. Black people had to raise your children. Another lie you got in this magazine talking about heterosexual nuclear families. The reason why you don't like it is because it only benefit white families. That's a lie. Back in the 60s and 70s, black people was 80% of nuclear families. They was leading the whole country when it came down to morality. You just straight up just lie in these articles. You just straight up lie about anything, and I guess you lying to the 19-year-olds and the 20-year-olds and so on and so forth, and people younger than them. And so I guess we're gonna close out in prayer. Minister, you got your last minute word?
Well, like I say, it's hard to talk behind you. It's nice to hear you and so much. That's all I can really say. All I can say is to the, we're just looking, we're looking to solve this problem. America has a duty, and I guess the only thing I know, our duty is to reform the planet. So, we need to stop all the foolishness. That's all I can really say.
Okay. All sufficient, omnipotent God, we here at the Universal Science Church of God want our little ones, your little ones, to experience the relationship that we have had with you all our life. Help us to continue in our walk and talk to draw them to you. Father God, please give us discernment and strength and perseverance to obey you, not with just words, not with just knowledge, but with actions that please you. We ask this prayer in the name of the Father, in the name of the Son, in the name of the Holy Spirit, also known as Holy Ghost. We pray. Amen, amen, and amen. Thank you for tuning in. Please remember to go to Apple, Amazon, Google, or Roku, and our app is there. We got a internet radio station podcast. We we're there on Mondays and Fridays at the beginning of the week and at the end of the week. So keep us in your prayers, saints. We'll keep you in our prayers. Thank you for tuning in. God bless you, and God